Hey guys, Joe here. So in this video, it is Friday, the 6th of September 2024. This will be the third update in a row. So there we go. So this week, again, I said this last week, I probably should do it, write down some key events. But that's okay. So there's been actually quite a bit of stuff where it's more of not immediate results, but there was a lot of things that were done that are setting us up for the future, right? So one of the big ones was really sitting down and taking the time to figure out what the next person we need's, what are they going to be involved in? What do I really need from them? What type of person are they? Like that kind of stuff. And so this is part of Traction, or EOS, right? So I've talked about this book before. Just also had a conversation with another person about this today as well. And if you haven't gotten the book, you haven't read it, and you're having issues within your business, I would highly suggest checking out this book. We literally implemented one thing from this book, and that is the core values, and it made a huge impact on this business. Now, we started with those core values just because I've read the book beforehand, because I don't want to screw up, my business again, or, I wanted to start in the right direction. Anyway, so there's that. And within Traction, or EOS, which again is Entrepreneur Operating System, just, a system where it says, look, do these core values, figure out where you want to go, and, planning and setting meeting cadence and like all this other kind of stuff. So anyway, so what I really need, because I was talking to my former supervisor, and it's like, look, this is what, I thought I needed a general manager. I'm like, no, I thought I needed a supervisor. Yes and no, because we will have multiple locations. But what I realized after taking hours, so normally if you make a decision after a few minutes, chances are you haven't thought it through, because I am guilty of that all the time. So what I realized I actually need is I need an integrator, okay? So an integrator, again, the term comes from EOS, or Traction, is basically there's at the top of the companies, there's going to be a visionary and there's going to be an integrator. So I feel like I talked about this already, but whatever. So I consider myself like the visionary. So it's typically the person that starts a company. They have like these crazy, ideas, and but that's where it kind of ends. There's very few people that are going to be both the visionary and the, integrator, because it's kind of like two different mindsets. Like one is more of like the creative. So that's, the visionary, whereas the integrator is more of the, buy the books, because they're dealing with the operations and, things like that. But the integrator is basically takes what the visionary's ideas are in their dream and they make them happen, right? So I had all this stuff. I really didn't know if my supervisor was going to be into this, because it's different than what she's done in the past, but she says she's ready to jump in. So we'll see what happens. So I have her coming in just on a weekly basis for now. And I said, look, at this point, I can't afford you. Like, I'm not going to be, making shit up or anything like that. But, I can't afford you at this point. And, I do think by next year, I can, right? But the economy sucks. Like, it's really bad. I don't know how it is in your area, but, it's a freaking, it's just a mess right now. So, we'll see what happens with that. And so there we go. Oh, my watch is coming by. So anyway, we got that. What else? A lot of cleaning getting done. A lot of organization. Things have just been driving me crazy. Not even just at work, but at home in general. Like, there's different things that, I told my wife yesterday, I almost feel like turning into her father. He had since passed away, but he was super OCD, right? And I still remember when I first started, going out with her, that he, after a little while of just getting comfortable, He's like, you need to like wipe down the sink. And I thought it was like an end of the night thing. And like I went to go use the sink and I didn't wipe it down. Like I didn't dry it, right? And he's like, you didn't wipe it down. I'm like, you want this done every time? He's like, yes. I was like, oh, okay. So now I don't do that, but like I started wiping the sink down at the end of the night. Like it's crazy. Never thought I would do that. So anyway, I just see that with like, been doing it with the garage, like there's all this shit. So like I probably do the floors like 2 and 3 times a week at this point. I've never done them, but I got this cool vacuum. So anyway, so there was that. So cleaning, organization, business is running great. It's slow, so you know, is what it is. I do think starting next week it'll, you know, start picking up just because people are back to school and they can kind of get back to real life. What else? Oh, so we're finding out again. So I'm not going to mention any names, but it's another supplier. I used to buy from them when I had the, you know, fence company, and I tried buying truckloads of material and they didn't want to do that. And so I had to go somewhere else, and wasn't at that point in time, we weren't really starting a supply company, but obviously we have one now, and here we are. So he's been saying for a long time now, because we've been in business for 2 years, that I don't think he really gave a shit about us when we first started, because like, you know, whatever, you know, at that point I still had the installation company, and it's like we're just tiptoeing into this, and like I don't think he really cared, and because I don't think he thought we were going to do anything with it. And then so obviously you are, and so he keeps on telling people that we're going out of business. Like, constantly, right? So now this is like the third time so far that we're hearing it from different people. So first time was probably about a year ago, where he's like, they're out of business and they don't even realize it yet, right? And then probably like 6 months ago it was the same thing. It's like, oh, they're going to be out of business by the summertime, right? And I'm like, well, if we're going to be out of business, like it's sure as shit not going to be in like, it's not going to be in the summertime. Like if anything, we would have went out of business in like January, February, not now, right? Just because like you have all this influx of, you know, business. And now he's going around telling people again that we are going out of business. So, but I will say that we are still here. I am not going anywhere. And it just motivates me more. So, whatever. What else? I had a conversation. I had one of the contractors come in today. We're, you know, discussing. And actually another fence company came in, but I think they were being a spy for another fence supplier. Not the one that I always talk about, but even someone else. Is what it is. I don't care. Come in. Like, be a spy. So we had that. Oh, so anyway, I was talking to the contractor. And so, number one, I keep on talking about the financing. If you haven't seen any of those videos, at this point, at least in our area, you know, in the Philadelphia area, like people are broke, right? So we have to do everything that we can to basically find money for these customers, because they're like, if they really want the fence, you know, whether they really need it, they really want it, whatever, they're going to get it one way or another, right? So it is our job to be able to help them get to that, you know, to get it, right? If you feel like you offer the best customer service and everything else, and like you're an amazing fence company, it is your job to get their business, right? And if you don't, like, it's your fault if they have a bad experience, right? So, hold on, I gotta grab this. Oh wait, that's actually in here. So, you gotta do the financing, but make sure that you don't just say, here's a link, go call this number, whatever, and just let me know, you know, if you get it. You can't do that. Like, you got to treat yourself the same as you would as a car dealership, right? Not asking to be a used car salesman, but you have to go through the process with them, right? You have to know what they actually have to go through. So if you offer financing, go through it, right? So if you know that it's going to be, you know, I talk to everyone and they just They just don't know what the process is. So I'm like, just go through the process. Typically it's a soft pull, so it's not really going to affect your credit or anything like that. And just see what it's like, right? Just do that. So that's number one. Number two is I really feel like, number one, the videos need, I don't know what's going to happen with Google because of the way, they're introducing the AI and stuff. So a lot of this SEO play, I don't know how it's going to work out in the future, right? So I do think one of the big things is going to be building your own either personal brand or the company brand, right? So even just starting in your local area, you want to be that go-to company that everyone talks about. If someone's talking about a fence, they're automatically thinking you, right? And so how do we do that? So we can do it a few ways. Hopefully this works. So how do we do that? So number one is you can do stuff like advertise or do the whole baseball uniforms and stuff like that, like sponsor a baseball team. You could do work with local charities, especially for a fence company. You could do some kind of donations, right? Where they think of you first. Especially a dog shelter. If you do that, if you do a dog shelter where it's get $500 off your fence or whatever, you're going directly to the people that need a fence. If they're getting a dog, they need a fence, right? So offer that, right? You could work with local realtors. You could work with the building people with property management, things like that. The key is to reach out to these people and make yourself known. The other thing that helps and I showed the person, is just do videos when you are at a job site. Say look, this is, I'm so-and-so with so-and-so company, and today we are in so-and-so town, and we are going to be doing this. And then what you're going to do is you're going to upload that video onto YouTube. And then what you're going to do is you're actually going, the title of it is going to be whatever you did in whatever town, right? So if you install a fence, what you'll do is you're going to put, fence installation in South Harrison Township, New Jersey. The reason why that came up is because I was just looking at my previous company's rankings because of the city pages and stuff like that, and I clicked on one of them and I'm like, okay, what does this look like? What's the search results, right? And so I pulled that up and I'm like, oh, I forgot about that, because Google and YouTube are the same company, that if I type in fence company in South Harrison, New Jersey, the website, obviously that comes up, right? But the video actually pops up as well, right? And you may be thinking, well, what's the likelihood of someone typing in, fence installation in such and such town / state, right? Maybe not. But if they are in that town and they say, fence company, vinyl fence installation, whatever, guess what happens? You show up, right? And so this is where you want to make sure you're doing your city pages. You want to make sure that you are doing your the videos, put that stuff in there, and it will help you show up, right? And the other thing that you can do with these videos is, what are the common questions that get asked all the time? Just answer them. And I showed the guy on my website, or my previous website, that it would be questions like, do I need a fence permit? What types of vinyl fence are there? Things like that. And just put those videos on there. And I showed him, because he's like, I hate my voice and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, honestly, you're overthinking. I'm like, I've done hundreds of videos at this point. I'm like, look at me. I'm like, I'm hideous. I'm like, do you think I like looking at myself? And the answer is no, right? And so just to prove a point, I went on there and I showed it on the videos. They are absolutely horrible, right? And because it's me sitting in front of a camera in my office, and I'm just very stiff, and now it's just easier because I just talk as I'm driving and stuff like that. So that's what I said to him, is go and, it's easier to do it as you're walking around. right? So while you're at the job site, just start talking, right? And he's like, well, I hate my voice. You're gonna see me change my voice and stuff like that. I'm like, dude, you are overthinking this. And then that's why I showed him, my video. I'm like, look, this is horrible. Like, it's really, really bad. Like, I forgot how bad they were, but it's like literally, I don't want to like scare you, but like imagine like if you only saw my face, like from this whole thing, like that kind of thing. And so, no one wants to look at that, but it's there. And what would happen is people were like, oh, they would say like, I saw you on, I saw the website, it was super helpful, blah blah blah, and I'm telling them that, and then I show him my video, and I'm like, look how horrible this is. I'm like, I don't even want to watch this. But I'm like, people actually liked it because I answered the questions ahead of time. So I would highly, highly suggest doing that. And I'm like, go talk to your wife. What are the common things she asks or has to answer all the time, right? And we were talking about the automations and different stuff that we can do. One of the things was like he has to do some kind of special permit for a specific town. I'm like, oh, we can actually set up an automation that if they are in this town and you go book an estimate, we can actually send this particular video to them before you even show up, which is really cool, right? The other thing is, if you know what kind of fence they're looking for, we can tag them as that. So again, they can have a video specifically about because he has a tree company as well, specifically about this tree permit. Or if it's a person that's looking for a vinyl fence, it's sending them videos specifically about the vinyl fence or like whatever they're looking to do. Like there's so many cool things. The other thing I talked to him about is like when you're dealing with property managers. Obviously price is a factor, but like they're busy, right? And not only that, if the project goes bad, then they have that's them and they have to deal with that, right? So I'm like, create videos about what you do, how you make their life easier, and how you make everything go as planned and all that kind of stuff, and get that out to the people, right? And following up and reaching out to them. Like, I think it's personally a waste of time to constantly be going after, if I was going to be a sales rep going for fence companies, like I personally think it would be a waste of time for me to go after, one company at a time. So what I would personally be doing is reaching out to the people in the zoning office. I would be finding ways to get in front of the people that do, make all these decisions, right? And the property managers, he was talking to, they're a great source of consistent work. I'm like, go reach out to more. Don't waste your time on this. Go how do we leverage your time as much as we possibly can? Why do we want to take one step at a time where we could take one step and it's the equivalent of 20, right? So anyway, hopefully this shit helps. What else? There's more stuff, but I can't remember, and honestly, there's some things I still have to process that I wrote down to figure out what I want to do. Instead of just saying, I'm going to do this, this, and this, I'm actually, believe it or not, taking the time to be like, am I really going to do that? Am I going to be able to consistently do that? Because, I want to attract the top of the line, the best of the best people in, not only in the fence industry, but any industry, right? Because they're all, related, more or less. And one of the character traits I know that I have to have is being consistent. And so I'm not going to just say random shit and if I can't follow through on it. So that's where I am. Yeah. So anyway, have a great weekend. Talk to you. Bye.